Hello everyone, we're back and we're live. Let me just do this. There you go. We're live from all our houses to you for the second day of the Northern League of Legends Championship 2024 Spring Split. My name is Alexandre Asharal and I'm not alone. I'm together with veteran and the British brother Initialize. Welcome back. I got to do it. I had to do it, man.
I missed you, man.
It's
been so long. Dude, you're back. It's so exciting.
It was an entire year, man, but thank you for that one. Veteran, pleasure to see you as well, man.
Pleasure to see you. You've come in with a lot of hype. All right. Actually, we've had a string of really good hosts on here, and I'm glad that that's continuing. Looking forward to all of this, man. Looking forward to all of it.
I'm also enjoying how we've kind of gone in like hair length order across as well with like veteran with these like full on like. Do you lose your analytical powers if you get rid of all the hair? Is it like a Samson type thing?
The more I learn, the more it's like I'm like a tree, you know, and the hair on my rings, you know. Just the more I experience, the better it gets, you know. My name ages similarly as well, you know. It just keeps getting better and better the longer I go.
Less ironic.
Have to keep going.
So I've made a mistake because I just cut my hair. Oh boy.
No, but you've grown the beard. You know,
Yeah,
that's
but
like your power is stored in your hairs on the other side.
Ago. Okay.
So I'm like the worst of birth wolves with like a tiny, with like a minuscule beard and mediocre hair. So I'm just doomed, right? Like what's my role here, guys?
So welcome both of you, but we have more people on the show to scream at the screen and try to explain what happened. We have a duo living at the same room, by the way. It is Redude in Middlecott. How are you doing?
Great. Same room. I'm not sure we're that close. We're living in the same
Bunk
apartment.
beds, let's go.
Okay, same apartment, different rooms. Let's clear that up immediately. But that being said, it's absolutely great to be back. Really looking forward to looking forward to another split at NLC.
Yes,
Thank
that
you,
one.
Thank you so much, guys. I've seen this this setup before. It was with Initialize and Nightmare, so let's see what happens today for both of you. I'm gonna steal back the show. Steal it back. Steal it back.
It's
Give it to the
2024, guys.
You guys, it's fine, you know.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you guys.
There you go.
For sure.
Look, it's just the Step Brothers scene again, where they've just got bunk beds for more room for activities like casting. It's just that all over again.
I'm glad
Why are
that's
you
the
making it
direction you
worse?
went back.
Give it back to the desk. Steal it away. Okay, you at home, do you want to be part of the show? Do you want to show your knowledge? So go back on Twitter and go for your predictions. So head on to NLC and give us your predictions. The prediction, like the top prediction of the week, will be entitled to one of these amazing mouses. But you're only allowed to win once per split. So you have to be the best on that week, and you'll get this wireless mouse. It's up to you to show us what you have and what you know. So, gentlemen, we had a day already. Any surprises so far?
Oh man. Yes. I think it's the answer to that. All right, I'm gonna let Veteran go because I watched him lean back there, and that tells me he's got a few statements he needs to get off his chest.
Well, I mean, I've actually put a lot of faith in some aspects of Verdant this split. We'll see if we get one of my bold or broke predictions later on that one. But the fact that final game, I mean, I was casually watching LVP LFL during it, right? Thinking like, okay, they have this wrapped up. I've got this wrapped up. And then someone in the chat was like, yeah, by the way, they're throwing. I switched back on and it's like, oh my god, what's going on here? Now that was a real game of League of Legends, I will say, unless you'd slammed all 5 points on Verdant, in which case it became some of the most stressful final 20 minutes of one's existence. Not sure if I'd say it was a surprise. They were very good teams, both of them. Kind of evenly matched. I did think Verdant had the edge, though. The manner in which Ruddy brought it back, though, that's not something you see very often from a brand new team of players. You have to think are nervous coming in here. Apparently they took the victory extremely well, but the fact that they kept fighting, that's amazing, and a bit of a surprise to see it from a team not quite as experienced.
Might as well go into to recap to understand what happened yesterday.
Yeah.
That was the last game, so might as well start with the first one. I believe we have some sort of B-roll for that one, for the recap of yesterday. No, we don't. Apparently, we don't. That's a surprise. So, aside from that game, Initialize, we also had other interesting games. The show up of Lions Creed, for instance. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. When we came into this split, a lot of the pre-season power rankings basically had Lions Creed at the top for good reason. They turn up in this game, and it was business as expected, particularly that mid-jungle duo. Johan is not Haru, but it's the same idea of X7 in 2022. You've got a superstar Korean mid laner who's looking to prove he's worthy of going back to the halcyon heights of LCK once more. He's got a guy like Johan who is one of those LCK junglers who's aggressive, but kind of fallen off the wagon a little bit, and once again looking to prove he's worthy of going back. And they just ran over the game. There's not really too much more to say about it. Kasing was having a lot of fun with it. He was driving heralds all over the place. We've already seen some content on Twitter. It was just a bit of a Goomba stomp. I don't think there's that much more to say. Every lane did very well. The Korean mid-jungle import stomped it. Bot lane looked great. Need to see some more, but it's a great start for Lion Screen.
It is. So let's show what we have today in store for the second day of NLC. We have a few games that we need to keep our eyes on. There you go. This is going to be DMG with Venom Crest to open up the day. Natives versus Lightside will be the second one. Lion Screen versus Rudy will be the match of the day. We go on that one a little bit later on. And Nord will end up the day versus Verdant. So, cool games. Any of these games that kind of tickle your nose that you want to talk about?
I also want to say, if the rules allowed it, I would literally just slam 12 points on Lion's Creed every single game. Like, I look there and I think this is going to be the hardest for Ruddy there. I mean, look, something has to be said, and you even see it in the LEC right now. If you bring in a group of people where its core have already worked together, you bypass those growing pains every team has to go through, right?
Yeah.
It's not just that these players are individually good. We know that individually, they all can have standout performances. It's that together, they already know how they fit. They've already gone past all of those arguments, especially early on in the season. You'd slam every point on there if the NLC didn't think ahead and prevent me doing that.
They know exactly how it's supposed to work. You went and got like advice from Forrest of all people as well to try and game the system, which I appreciate. But I think the other game I'm potentially quite interested in is that last game of the day. Verdant versus Nord could be a really, really big one. I think Nord turned up yesterday. I think Verdant had a bit of a rough showing against Ruddy, but they actually had a good start to the game. So I think that could be quite a close match on paper. And I'll be interested to see exactly what the power level of those two teams are when they match up against each other.
Because it's interesting. The match of the day, it is Rudy versus Lion Screen. And you're telling me, Veteran, that it should be a one-sided game, although we've seen some interesting things coming in from Rudy yesterday. So is that a way to stop this Lion Screen composition with what Rudy brought, like some sort of surprise pick? Or what do you believe can be the salvation of Rudy?
Alex, alright? That guy,
Hit me.
he has absolutely no fear. He goes for things that make no sense sometimes. And, you know, if it doesn't make sense to him, how can it make sense to anybody else, right? An unpredictable nature. But he is willing to go for the one-for-one at every single point, right? And that kind of aggression can be very difficult to deal with on stage in the moment. It's the kind of thing that can shift the game back in one's favor. And it did do that for Ruddy yesterday. It can do so today. You expect certain things when you come into League of Legends. When those expectations are upset, suddenly you now have to think in the moment. But Alex is already in there, right? He's already in there. And he's already full one-shotting someone, probably going straight for Jinjo, right, with no care in the world. And now suddenly you're down in an area you didn't think you were down. That's what Ruddy have got here. That aggression, that confidence, right? That's what's made them the people's champions for multiple splits in the NLC so far. That's going to be their ace in the hole, continuing even with this new lineup.
If I can jump on that in just a sentence. I was in the Ruddy watch party yesterday, and I tell you now, the amount of energy they brought in, because a load of the players came into the watch party afterwards, they were cheering their names. I know Alex sent a couple messages over to Jake, the owner, and saying, look, that kind of support was, you know, it was making him really emotional. It was one of the best things he'd ever experienced in esports. And that kind of passion, that kind of fan base, it's amazing to see. I can imagine the hashtags in chat right now, but there is something really special about that kind of belief and support for players like Alex, who are very new. This could be a really magical time for them. We'll have to wait and see.
So might as well show the predictions to understand who voted for Rudy, because I know someone did, and there you go. For Venom Crest, it's pretty one-sided, although Foxdrop, Rudude, and Initialize are going for the DMG. Then it's mostly natives, with only Duckling going for light side. And then look at this wave. Hiprain, he knows something. He's in first place, but he knows something. And at the end, well, it's kind of in between. A lot of hope from Nord yesterday kind of disappeared because everybody was almost at 5 points. Now we're shifting a little bit to 2 and 3 maximum. Also because it's going to be an amazing game as well. Hiprain, I think it's going to fall today. I think it's going to fall from the first place in terms of prediction. Yeah, 100%. Just because it's Hiprain. But aside from that, hit me.
He has taken Forrest's advice, alright? Initialize referenced it, but Hitbrain is the guy taking the advice. He said it's the NLC. You slam it on some guy who has absolutely no right to win whatsoever, and that's the best way to go about it. So Hitbrain's taken that philosophy to the next level, and it's working out for him. As far as I know, he's top of the standings right now as is. So maybe he's got the way, he's got the path.
It's kind of a very backhanded compliment if Hitbrain works for you, basically. So all those teams out there, you know, maybe get a little offended if Jake's throwing points your way.
You know what? Jake is kind of bold, so I want to jump on that one. I want you to go bold or go broke. I want you to give me the highest or weirdest statements you can for this split or for this week. I don't care, and I'll award you with pot of snacks according to how wild can you be. Who wants to be the first one?
Okay, I think that Verdant will win a playoff series.
Wait, that's you being bold?
They have to qualify for playoffs, and then they have to win a series against everyone else who's qualified for playoffs. So
It's not the same team as last year. Let it
that
go.
is pretty extreme. I'm not sure if you watched yesterday, Arteron, but this is not this is not the Giga Stomping team from before, and it's not a for sure lineup, right? I have Lions Creed will only drop one regular split game at most, and I also have that Romeo will win Rookie of the Split. Not be a candidate, not possibly be in the conversation, will win. Those are my bold predictions, as well as the one that I just said.
I can award you like 50 pot of snacks if you get it all right.
50
We still need to
Polos,
understand.
mate.
Yeah,
I don't have a
it's
Polo.
high.
My landlord
What?
won't let me have one. Yeah.
At the end of the split, the one who gets the highest pot of snacks will get something, by the way.
Other
I'm
than
just
Polo
awarding
sales.
weird pot of snacks, by the way.
I'm actually quite invested now. I'm just curious to
I
what
mean,
Archibald actually
something
comes
is
up with.
pretty, you know, that's a pretty...
You see this
broad
little
range.
dude over here?
Yeah.
He's in charge. He's in charge, by the way.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Initialize. What is your bold or
Yes.
go broke? Because
So I had my broke one was I think Temp will be the best mid in the league. So that's the low tier one. But the other two was I think Alex from Ruddy will win Rookie of the Split, and as a result, Jake will mention Ruddy scouting in every single one of his interviews afterwards. He's gonna be so damn proud about it. And then my other one is I think Romeo will hit a hook so insane that the game is gonna get paused to investigate it.
You know what? I'll give you 55 pot of snacks if you get this correct, but I'll steal from you 7 because of
Wait,
the first one.
well, no, wait. Let me lawyer a bit here. When you say
I stole
best
7
mid
pot of snacks.
I
of
knew
the
he was gonna do
split,
it.
when you say best mid of the split, what do you mean? Does he get first all pro at the end? Does he end first place? Does he have the best stats in a certain area? What do you mean? We have to
Yes.
quantify this, because now you could make the argument, even if he's 10th, that he was the best. All right. So what are we saying here?
You know what? Initialize before you start. I'm going to give you something better. So you're going to answer veteran, and I want you to explain
Yes.
to me how good it is to have Timp back and lawyered up Timp. Okay, I'll even give you
Okay.
something to talk.
Great
okay?
layup. Great layup.
I'll give you
so
one
yeah,
graphic.
I was advocating for a couple of our returning veterans here. And number one, Tempt. He's not just the king of the jungle with the Lions Creed boys. He's the king of the mid lane. We last saw him in NLC in 2022, where he was just absolutely unreal with Haru on that X7 roster. A lot of people were super hyped about M&S, thought he was the best mid in the league. It's crap. It was Tempt. He was so damn good.
boy.
He was really, really so good. Back when he debuted in the LCK, he was promoting on Escape Ever back at the time, and he was on Handle Life, but he kind of got a bit overshadowed by some of his kind of co-debutants in the likes of Chovy and Showmaker, and as a result, he kind of got left on that kind of just slightly lower tier, but I think he's really, really got it. I think he's got a lot to prove, in that he wants to get back to not just ERLs, he wants to be back in the LCK if he can hope it, in the early C if he can hope it, that kind of league. That's what he's aiming for. And when he was in the NLC last, he was very, very consistent on whatever champ you threw him at. He would be carrying on things like the Akali, on the Ahri. There wasn't a lot more you could ask of from him in terms of both the laning fundamentals and just his impact on the game. He was always putting out very consistent damage numbers. And so to answer your question, veteran, I think he's going to be the best mid in the league because his champion pool is going to be excellent. His numbers are going to be insane, and I think we're going to have the eye test that he and Johan as a duo are just going to be better than everyone else.
Hey, you can't eye test your way out of this. That's always an arguable thing, all right?
You know what? We can do this one
first all
afterwards.
pro. Say first all pro. Commit.
Yes,
commit.
I do.
Okay.
First all pro,
First all
absolutely.
Pro. There you go.
With the eye test as
There
well.
you
You
go.
want to
There
talk
you
about anyone else, by the way? Initialize another return.
I do indeed.
Okay,
I'll
hit
have a
me.
quick moment here
Oh
to
my
talk about
God.
the artist formerly known as Selfie, of course, now known as Nulu. But this is a guy who debuted literally a decade ago on Super Hot Crew, and he initially wasn't even old enough to promote with the team. He only got to play the last few weeks of spring, and they didn't have the greatest time in spring. But then they hit in summer, and this team, out of nowhere, having come up from the challenger scene, gets third in the regular season. And yes, they don't manage the best in playoffs, but Selfie is a monster alongside his jungler in Impaler. Shout out my Rengar player from the UK boy. And he was a monster on the likes of Yasuo and Ari. And then afterwards, his career got a bit messy. There was a lot of drama, and he was across like 17 teams across both NA and EU, and there was contract shenanigans, and he eventually kind of fell off the wagon despite being a really good player in 2020, and he stops playing. And then he gets into coaching in 22. He joins Cloud9's challenger team as one of their positional coaches, moves up to the main team in sort of 23. And then finally, this year, he's back to playing after like 4 years of absence to kind of prove that actually this time around, he's not going to get screwed over by team shenanigans and being on the wrong team at the wrong place and any other number of drama. This is his chance to finally do it a decade after he started. I have so much like heart for this guy who still loves esports, who still wants to make it work. I have all eyes on this guy, and I really hope that that dream that started a decade ago can really grow into something more this year in the NLC.
So keep your eyes on those two talents coming back. But one of the greatest things for the NLC this year, at least from my perspective, is the fact that we have so many rookies. And yesterday, a lot of them got MVP. So we need to get to know them and understand those rookies a little bit better. So Veteran, I know you want to talk about a few of them. So hit us. I really want to know more about them.
First of all, I do also want to say, shout out to Selfie. He was one of the smartest players that I ever worked with. He was also one of the most dedicated players I ever worked with. And I had two of my best splits with him on my team. So he definitely can do it. He actually had a perfect split at this level at one point while I was there. So I know he can do it again. I know how instrumental he was in that. So I am really looking forward to seeing what he pulls out today. But yes, you are right. We don't just have people trying to prove that they still have it. We're having people for the first time prove that they've got it in the first place and that they can hang with the big boys, like Selfie, like Temp, like everyone else. I think the first of them, Romeo, definitely proved yesterday that he can do it. A lot of the time on his previous teams, he's actually acted more as like a secondary engage. But yesterday, for Nord, he was primary engaged through and through. Everybody's been talking about how he was landing hook after hook after hook. But that was also the impetus for pretty much every big play that was happening. Yes, blue side bot lane is pretty broken right now, but this guy was taking that to the next level, right? Every opportunity he capitalized on with absolutely zero hesitation. And for a rookie to take that kind of leadership level and produce that kind of an advantage is insane. And then the other guy, obviously, you've talked about already here, Alex on Ruddy. I love aggressive players, right? Very few people remember. Like, there was, I remember having a conversation on stream with Soaz about when he first played with Caps when Caps joined Fnatic. And Caps had a solo queue game where he went 0-22. And so I was like, you know what? Could you like calm down here? I think we can like win, you know? And Caps was like, no, I think this is good, you know? Because that kind of aggression, you can teach people to temper it a bit, but you can't teach people to have that hunter instinct mindset initially going in. But if you need to kill Jinjo, if you need to kill Tempt, if you need to get rid of Selfie, Alex is the guy who is going to go for that. And yesterday, in that massive comeback against Verdant, his Syndra was going in all the time, going in on their backline, catching when he could, even if he was going to be 1v4, 1v2, 1v3, and it worked out so much for them. And that aggression, I hope he keeps it up. I'm so glad that he had all the support of Ruddy's fan base behind him, and I hope that they keep doing it, because this is how you develop great players in the future, right? People with this kind of aggression who get to push their limits, who are unafraid to push their limits, and with that kind of support behind him, I think he can really go places.
If I can jump in on that briefly, because I did message Jake a little bit to see if I could find out a little bit more about this guy, because he's kind of come out of nowhere, and they were saying, look, we just found from data analytics, like the guy was putting up ridiculous damage numbers, his ability to hit skill shots was really cool, and you know, all this kind of things, like they've just kind of pulled him out of nowhere, and to see him debut like that, and then also saying like this was the first time he'd gotten support like that from fans yesterday, and it meant a huge amount to him, and that's the kind of thing where you go, look, the guy's got talent. He hits the skill shots, he does the damage numbers. What can he do with it? You got to hope that's something great.
Now let's move on to the first game of the day. We have Venom Crest already versus DMG. We'll talk about those plays a little bit more down the line. And another one that I keep my eyes on is Zubak with his Viego. He was a demolishing powerhouse for Venom Crest, so I would like to see if he has any other champion on the pool to do the same sort of work, or if he's going to stick with that Viego. So far, we have the Rel and the Ashe, and then Senna and Rumble, the usual, getting removed. The power picks are still available. What else can we expect?
I mean,
you have to wonder if after yesterday something like that Viego is taken away as kind of a pocket pick, even if I don't think Viego is that great right now. But I'll be interested to see what the thought process is, because again, both of these teams, I think particularly for the side of Venom Crest, showed up a little bit better than I was expecting. And I think DMG kind of got the Lions Creed draw, so I don't know where they're going to be at yet. So there's still a lot to prove for both these teams.
I think my issue right now with DMG is that Liam Cole was such one of those big Aphelios players from last year, especially when ADC was in a different position than it is in now. ADC is no longer that big hyper carry role that you can expect to do those kinds of 1v9 performances. I think not only is he vulnerable to that Aphelios ban that I'm not seeing, but even if he does go on Aphelios, it won't have the same impact on that team that it could have last year, right? The game has changed. Also, he's on red side instead of blue side. An opening Lucian does indicate at least a certain level of aggression. It's still a one item into our bot champion, but I'll be interested to see. Looks like it might not even be the Aphelios. Looks like they're going for the Varus. That's being locked.
And I think Varus is what, excuse me, one of those bot lane characters that we have seen still be very dominant in the bot lane. It's got a few modes in terms of how you build it. And I think a lot of AD carries have moved away from things like the Aphelios, more towards things like the Varus, and found a lot of success. So if you need Liam Cole to be the carry, that's a good pick to get in nice and early to make that happen. It's also not a bad option when you are seeing things like Cassante getting drafted a lot. Varus is one of the few AD carries around right now that feels like they can actually do meaningful damage to that person who's building all these ridiculous tank items.
Yep, especially with the lethality builds that you're seeing going around right now. Lethality is the thing you want on bot lane, so you'll see a lot of this, you'll see a lot of Jhin, you'll see a lot of Senna, you'll see a lot of these kinds of champions.
And a surprise to no one as well, the Milio gets locked in alongside the Lucian. That's been very high priority. We saw it a lot over in the LPL today as well. Lucian, Milio, Lucian in general, very strong. Of course, struggled a bit over in the West, but in general is a very potent pick if you can use those one-item spikes. So we'll see where that one goes. But on the other side, Nautilus locked in with Varus. You know what it does. You hit level 6, you both press all your stun buttons, and someone dies.
I mean, Cassante is there, and that guy doesn't die to anything. So I always, generally speaking, the safe money is on the team with Cassante. That champion's looked incredibly broken of late. Tanks are more relevant than they were before. Hypercarries are less relevant than they were before. Not very many things are left to really do something to a champion. That can also just be untargetable by CC whenever he wants and shrugs it all off. So, yeah, have fun with that.
And again, on that note as well, because of course the other thing you got to note is you got Emilio as well. So even if someone who's not the Cassante gets hit by the CC, you can cleanse it away with that Breath of Life. So you've got a few options to try and mitigate some of that CC chaining that DMG have tried to put together there.
Final ban will come in, so Silas and Akali, those are the mid lane priority. No mid lane, well, you have the Orianna. You have a delivery ball, because yesterday we've seen a lot of Jarvans going into the jungle. No jungler yet being picked. Probably they're trying to respect as much as they can Zubak. But Xin Zhao is another powerhouse, and you might get a shift on that one. Maybe you have someone to dive, to get protected as well, the follow-up damage from afar. What do you guys see right now as the last picks?
I mean, Xin Zhao would be more of a pick for DMG, and Venom Crest would be the guys that would severely benefit from a Jarvan 4 here. Though that could also mean you want to pick Jarvan away. The Aphelios is being hovered regardless.
Wait, this isn't a Curb special. It's not the Varus top lane. If Kerberos has gotten me tank Varus top lane at the NLC, I'm about to be very angry. But no, it is the Xin Zhao that was kind of highlighted. I think that is another ball carrier. It's someone to pair it with the Nautilus. Makes a lot of sense. It's solid frontline. We've seen how much work things like the Titanic Hydra are doing on that champion. It does, however, leave Zubak with that Viego we're talking about, and did get a note from production as well that there is a name bug over on Venom Crest side. Don't worry, the players are all still there. It's just a bit of a name bug. The players are all still the same.
Okay, but I do like the Nico pick. You're into double low mobility, that's why Jarvan would be more of a Venom Crest pick in the first place. It's very good at abusing those kinds of double low mobility compositions, whereas Jarvan into a Lucian Cassante opening, now if they go high mobility mid lane, Jarvan R becomes quite useless. as that ball delivery system. Xin Zhao, on the other hand, can stay back and play disengage of what is a very effective range composition, or can then re-engage as part of a ball delivery composition as well, right? So decent picks on both sides. I'd actually favour Venom Crest overall. I think Venom Crest have a really good ability here to take out DMG's 4-man, but the 1-man, who are we sending to deal with Fiora here, right? Fiora's always this X factor. You either play her or you don't. Very unlikely Venom Crest have a lot of experience scrimming against her, and I'm interested to see how she is against the tanky, full damage behemoth of Casanto.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree with Veteran, with perhaps the caveat that I think it is slightly easier to play Nautilus Xin Zhao with an Orianna Varus behind it. Like, that's not as complicated to execute, and we've seen, for example, Lucian struggle to execute as a team, because Lucian is a team pick. You need to know how to set up vision to know when Lucian could start dashing forward for those really scary cullings and stuff, and that's going to ask a little bit more of Venom Crest. If they can do it, I'm excited, but I do think the ease of execution is on DMG's side, with perhaps the exception of the Fiora requiring a little bit more mechanical chops in that top side to pull off.
Venom Crest on one side, they need to win this one to get the perfect start of the week. And for the other side, DMG needs to win this one if they want to tie up the result of 1-1. But tossing it to the casters is Rudud and Middlecott together on the same spot.
In the same room, on the same spot, just chilling. Really excited for this first game, really, dude. And honestly, I think we've had a couple of surprises coming into the draft immediately.
Yeah.
Liam Cole, Aphelios being left open, not going towards that pick. But bigger for me is Zubak actually being allowed to play the Viego. He absolutely dominated on this pick yesterday, and I'm not sure that it was going to make it all the way to that second phase of draft, but it did, and Venom Crest rightly picked it up.
Yeah, it was certainly a question mark that we had just off there, having a little conversation, saying, oh, you know, Xin Zhao goes really nicely here if you are DMG, and then we're thinking, well, that's true, but if Zubak can take Viego, it's going to do it. And that's exactly what's happened here. So it's that power of, or the dichotomy really, of comfort versus what is just really strong in the meta right now. The Xin Zhao, probably one of the best dueling junglers that there is in League of Legends at the minute, and that's just a fact. Viego, of course, just Zubak's best pick, comfort pick by all capacity.
Yeah, well, talking about duelists, we've got the Grand Duelist up in the top line here for LVS. A bit more of a carry style for this guy on DMG, and I think I do want to sort of like hold the horses a little bit with DMG. They did lose in the first game, but they unfortunately rolled the unlucky dice of going against Lions Creed. So I think for a lot of these guys coming in today, it's going to be about mental reset. You had that L yesterday, but it's a new day today, and this is really where you can get your split started.
Yeah, and what you, sort of, you know, Middlecott, to give him credit here, has done an absolute boatload of research on the players specifically as well, reached out to literally everybody, every team. LVS got back to us and said that he prefers playing these strong side champions. He's got the Fiora this time round. If I'm looking for a strong side top laner, I'm thinking Fiora's pretty good. He's into a tank as well. This is about as good a matchup as you can hope for. But there are some level 1 shenanigans here from DMG. Never mind.
Oh, painful. He just knows. He's seen too many people stacking up in that brush before he's able to spot them out on the Nico, a pick who has... Honestly, I'm kind of sick of her at this point a little bit. Just seems to offer everything in the mid lane, so much damage, but also massive zone control when we start getting into team fights.
Yeah, I don't think I can ever be sick of Nico. The camouflage just offers way too many fun interactions. If I see, like, even one person occupy themselves as a Scryer's Bloom or something, and then an enemy opponent hits it and it lives, just the mental warfare that has been impacted on that player goes a little too hard, but Nico does do it all. You're not wrong in that capacity.
Just there like, wait, hold up, what's going on here? A little bit of a late invade coming through from the Venom Crest top side. No defensive vision placed down by DMG, so they're not going to be able to spot this one out.
No, but what they do have is a ward on the Raptor pit of Venom Crest jungle, so they're going to see a very slow cross from Zubak, or maybe just no cross at all, and that'll illuminate Shift as to the potential shenanigans going on in his own topside jungle. Zubak went full clearing on this topside.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm hoping that Shift has a little bit of a better time in the early game, because yesterday he got fought at his red buff at level 1, forced a flash, and then Johan came in and killed him. So hopefully goes a little bit better for
Well,
him.
look at this adapted clear that he's taken for this game. He's gone blue buff, and instead of going to the Gromp, he's gone, not today! I will not be killed at my wolves. I'm taking them second, and I'll go to the Gromp afterwards. He is really shifting his clear in how you want to be doing it. May well end up transitioning into the bot side jungle of Venom Crest. Seeing LVS take some decent trades on this top side, and if this happens to be a split map, this is going to be very difficult for LVS to stay on this top side safely.
Yeah, we do need to pay attention to Zubak as he is moving over, looking for a gank there, charging up the Spectrum Ward, but LVS just out of range. Important to note, this Fiora is running the Ghost instead of the Flash, so is a little bit more vulnerable to those ganks.
Yeah, and with that gank as well, the jig is up. In case Venom Crest were thinking that Shift didn't have that information, as soon as he shows on the top side with a red buff and 3 camps, Shift immediately knows, okay, he's taken my top side jungle, let me see what I can do on this bot side. And you can see with Liam Cole and Pearson as well, they immediately move up just to give a little bit of support. I don't know if Shift is going to be able to take the full top side. I think that this is still a decent win for Venom Crest. But overall, the fact that they're not going to trade or get 3 buffed is a decent outcome for DMG.
And I like Liam Cole dropping into Fog as well as Pearson's going for this roam. So Deadhound and Apache don't really have a clear idea of what's going on in terms of their bot side jungle, though you'd have to anticipate that the Jin Zhao is going to be there, and with that defensive ward, they are going to be able to spot him out as he moves over.
Yeah, no, I was just completely wrong as well. Turns out that they are going to get full 6 camps each, not the end of the world, and the crabs likely to be fairly well distributed as well. Shift not going to get caught by the fire kick.
Oh, but he does have 4 members of Venom Crest converging on his position, flashes over the wall, but gets followed by everybody. First blood for Deadhound.
Yeah, we were playing to these side lanes and forgot that mid lane existed, unfortunately. Painful, happy to sacrifice a little bit of time in the mid lane, moves down, burns his flash as well to get first blood on his AD carry. And as Initialize was saying in the Champion Select, Lucian is a team-wide AD carry, and that's exactly what they've played to here.
Yeah, we got double buffs on him as well so early on, and I think that Lucian is one of the few AD carries that can really benefit from those. Zubak charging up the Spectrum more. Liam Cole, well-timed flash to get away, but with that summoner spell down, you'd have to expect a repeat gank in the next few minutes.
And remember, this is red side bot lane, everybody. This is DMG going to be in a lot of trouble.
Oh, Person getting the hook onto Zubak just under the tower, forcing the Viego to flash away. Shift responding in the bottom lane, but not able to get a kill.
So no kills traded back. Venom Crest coming out of this very early game with a 1k gold lead already, with the early first blood going their way, and also a sizable enough CS lead up on that top lane. It's actually going to get closed up by these waves, but it looks like Lenny has been able to force a wave under the turret, get a crash, and doesn't have to teleport back. So this is a really actually decent early game for the Cassante.
Yeah, and Lenny, I think, was a very impressive player for Venom Crest in the previous game. Couple of big Nara ults coming through, and that's sort of been a little bit of a hallmark of some of the French top laners coming in to the NLC. We had Lingui, we've had Kitano, and now Lenny also getting it done on the north side of Summoner's Rift.
Cannot complain. Grubs have already spawned, so our jungler's attention immediately turning up to this top side. Zubak in Fog of War LVS.
Oh, he knows there's an issue, but he still gets stunned. Going to be able to parry away from the knock-up and get out of there with the help of that Ghost.
Alright, so double Ghost burned by our top laners, and that's immediately starting out saying, well, going to give that Fiora a little less control over the laning phase. Tiamat has been started, so push pretty much secured, but the first Void Grub has been taken by Zubak, and we'll have to see if Shift and this potential roam, actually, from Pearson is going to be able to stop anything else. Looks like no, and Nautilus is going to do a little bit of a walk back to the bot side.
Yeah, if we're talking about roaming supports, I do think the Nautilus is slightly more proficient in that role than the Milio, but Shift has opted into a very bad situation. No flash on the Jin Zhao. Painful pop blossoms the enemy jungler.
Huh. Well, you said that, middle cop, but then the Emilio got an assist, and the Nautilus didn't. So, clearly your stats are wrong.
Fraudulent behavior from myself. LVS has that level 6, has issued the grand challenge down onto Levy and is still at relatively high HP. All out going to come through. They're dropping absolutely everything onto this Fiora, and there is no hope for LVS. Venom Crest, 3 kills in rapid fashion coming out of the early game.
Yeah, Zubak walked in, missed his skill shots, but it just didn't matter. Cassante moment happened, and it enabled the reset for Zubak to come out on top. Nice to see, though, that we're getting some early aggression from Zubak. We highlighted this player going into the draft. He's got his comfort pick of the Viego. Now found himself on the board as well. Not thwarted by a potential split map. Had a really decent time of things coming away now. 3-0 for Venom Crest as well.
And it's another rough start for Shift. I think one of the benefits of the Jin Zhao is once you get to that level 6 mark, you do become significantly tankier and can engage in these rules in a much more or equal opportunities way to a certain extent, but Venom Crest are kind of starting to do what they did against Lightside, continuing to take these small skirmishes, these small advantages, and eventually you get a 3k, 4k, 5k gold lead out of kind of nowhere.
Yeah, and you know, in fairness, Venom Crest yesterday as well, it was a same sort of story. Zubac making plays happen on Viego, getting early leads for his team, and despite the fact that first Drake has gone down, I've seen so many games already in Season 14 where teams are going, you know what, you can get the first couple of dragons, that's not a big concern to me. If we're getting boycotts and getting kills up on that top side, we're just winning.
It's another gank into the top lane. The riposte isn't able to connect, and LVS is just dead again. Venom Crest are looking on fire.
Yeah, I mean, we were hoping that this Fiora would be strong-sided, but unfortunately Shift has kind of collapsed in the jungle 0 and 2 as well. We're looking at this Fiora now starting to really struggle in this top-side matchup, down 10 CS, down a couple of kills as well. Yes, it's coming off the back of Zubac making roams up to this top side, but look at what Shift has been able to accomplish on the bot side. Unfortunately, it's nothing. His AD carry is down 10 farm, Deadhound is even up a level. This is just not going well for DMG really anywhere.
I mean, it's already that 3,000 gold lead, which I was kind of alluding to literally just 60 seconds ago. And I guess the question now for DMG is, how do you recover this? How do you get that first kill on the board?
They are going to be looking toward this Xin Zhao. Despite the couple of deaths early on, the champion still has insane base damages and still is really their leading agency through the early stages. Yes, there's going to be an effort on this bot side here, just a bit of ward clearing, but we can look at the minimap. Zubac's already on his way, reading this kind of like a book.
If the hook lands from person, though, could still be lethal, but I think Shift rightly respecting the Viego, but instead opts back in front of him. He's going to have to put that ultimate immediately, but Milio gets caught out. Paggi dropping low, but flashes away from the piercing arrow. Painful, making his way over, getting a two-man lockup. Shift has already fallen down, and Liam Cole is short to follow.
From bad to worse, 2 kills again for Venom Crest. DMG look to make the play in the bot lane. Unsuccessful. Mid lane roam once again in favour of Venom Crest. Painful doing a wonderful performance in the mid lane, sacking the occasional wave, still up in farm, and also has 3 KP to go with it.
And honestly, credit to Venom Crest, right? This was one of the rosters coming into the split that I know that myself, a lot of people weren't too sure about, but they've come out with another exceptional early game this time around.
A little glimpse at how all this started. Look at the minimap as well, importantly. You've got that Nico minion just roaming down the river to be the important difference maker in the broad scale fight. Yes, Zubac's resets maybe made a difference as well, but the fact that they're able to get a double pot blossom really spells the defeat for DMG on that bot side.
Guys, don't give him Viego. His Riot ID in solo queue is literally Zubac #Viego.
Oh.
This guy loves this champion, and honestly, I feel like week 1 might be the only time that we're seeing it.
I wouldn't be surprised, and we've had so many instances of NLC players coming in, getting a reputation on one champion, and then it just being banned. I'm looking at Jinrei's last year, if you'll indulge me.
Yeah.
The Lissandra, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was the Lissandra. That was nasty.
Yeah, exactly. There are plenty of instances of, in this particular league, seeing people perform on one champion for a week, and then teams going, and never again, thank you.
And I suppose that's really the next evolution, the next set of questions that Venom Crest are going to have to answer is, okay, you can do it on the Viego, Zubac. What else are you going to be able to offer yourself? DMG, they've still got opportunities. I think they've still got angles. When I'm looking at a Nautilus, when I'm looking at an Orianna, these are 2 champions that really excel when we get into the team fighting stage, and gold leads can melt away if you just press all your buttons on one guy.
Yeah, and it is important to remember or to look at as well what the stronger points of DMG currently are. Agony Pain in the mid lane, whilst he's not been roaming, has been keeping up in farm, hasn't fought it or hasn't died at all so far this game. So this Ori is going to deal damage. We're waiting for that first item to really come through before we can start getting super scared about those shockwaves. But it's worth saying that the early game of Avaris as well, not necessarily the worst champion to have some decent base stats on. Still damage available for DMG, and especially if they start looking for these sneaky plays here where they can pick somebody off, they're going to have the damage to take them down.
Ooh, Hex Splash over the wall, channeling the recall, interrupted, taken out, shut down for Liam Cole.
What's the opposite of a Cast a Curse?
Cast a Blessing, I believe.
Well, there we go. You're welcome, DMG. A beautiful little sequence there, managing to find the jungler, and that's a big shutdown as well, going into the correct pocket as well. Liam Cole collecting that kill is exactly the type of person that they'd want it on.
I'm still worried about this top lane though. Lenny's obviously gotten a kill and an assist onto LVS, but he's also been able to take that enemy tower pretty damn low. Still a couple of minutes until the plates fall off, and yeah, Fiora is great at split pushing, but if she loses her tower this early, if she falls behind this early, it's a long way to come back into the game.
And importantly, Fiora loses the 1v1, then she becomes a lot worse at split pushing. The good thing though, Thornmail working for her.
Oh, hello. Issuing the grand challenge. Lenny just standing against the wall. Now going to be going all out, looking for the solo kill. And he gets it.
Unfortunately, as soon as the turret stops hitting Lenny, the 1v1 becomes a lot more Cassante favoured. There was a leveled lead there, and using the riposte to just slow the attack speed there. Didn't get any stun on it. Lenny knew that as soon as that cooldown was out, LVS was a sitting duck and capitalised appropriately.
But this is exactly what you need to be doing if you are Venom Crest. You can't be taking your foot off the gas. If there is an angle, absolutely go for it. Absolutely try and pressurize. And they're doing a similar thing in the bot lane here. Zubak stealing away buffs.
Yeah, one of my notes from Venom Crest's game yesterday was that they actually got to about 20-22 minutes, super far ahead, and then were a little bit slower to close out the game than I might have liked. Now, this is a team new into Division 1. I'm not making this as a criticism of them, but this is something that I'm looking to as this roster to be able to improve as a team and close out their games more concisely in future. They've got another lead here, Middlecott. This is a great example and a great chance for them to show us something different.
Yeah. Dragons, haven't really paid too much attention to those, but they are one apiece, so DMG at least not going to be having to face up against a soul win condition, potentially setting up a sneaky play in the bottom lane here. As Zubak is making his way over, but Liam Cole is already down to 30% HP. Potentially diveable for a Viego, but Zubak decides better of it.
Definitely diveable for a Viego. It is just that Zubak's decided he's giving mercy to Liam Cole this time round. Really small thing there. It looks like that Dead Hand actually managed to dash the Fog of War Chain of Corruption. Zubak though in trouble.
Oh, Shockwave going wide there. Zubak able to jump out, but might just be going back onto Shift, who started recalling in a very strange position. Painful, gonna look for one more, an extension of the play, and a double for Deadhound.
Oh, nice snipe though. Liam Cole does find one back. Deadhound is gonna fall there. Zubak getting very aggressive here on this turret.
Maybe a little bit too aggressive. It's still in that hallowed miss, so can't be hit by Liam Cole or person. He's going to flash forward on top of the Nautilus, getting a little bit greedy and punished appropriately. A third kill for Liam Cole.
Nicely played here from the bot side of DMG, able to capitalize on a couple of overextensions from Venom Crest. Really good blocking from Pearson there. Meant that the Liam Cole could not tank that W, wouldn't get stunned. Shift.
Oh, no.
No! Oh, he's fine.
Okay.
Well, do you remember when I said that Venom Crest were a little bit slow to make things happen yesterday? I feel like that was a fight that Lenny might have been able to win.
I feel like it was a fight that he didn't want to win because it would have put Shift's mental a little bit too far down. It's not been fun again for this Xin Zhao, and you have to hope that there is an improvement coming through from DMG, but again, I feel like I can't emphasize this enough. This is very, very clean stuff from Venom Crest, and with a couple of minutes until the Drake, I'd imagine that they're going to start stacking up those objectives a little bit more as they're also posturing around that Herald in the top side.
Cheeky thumbs up there from Deadhound. Didn't know that they were in there, and that's a slightly mistimed skill shot from Pearson. But with Venom Crest making this play up on the top side, respectfully walks through his jungle, and I say that because he walks around the back of the red buff as opposed to, well, technically, on blue side, it's probably the front of the red buff. Going around the back of red buff is probably the dangerous way this time round.
Depends where you're coming from.
It does. That's true.
I think we should
start
be
using
Cardinal. Using Cardinal, yeah.
Went around the southwest side of the red buff. Ooh. If I start using north and south in League of Legends, I think people...
I don't like that. Well, the north is very obviously the top.
We've removed the need for north and south here. Agony Pain lives with Seraphs, but he's going to lose his mid-tier 1 turret.
Yeah, Venom Crest grouping as a 4-person unit.
How many groups are there?
Millions of mighties. Another charge coming through from Zubak as they built this gold lead up to 5,000 at this point. Incredibly disgusting amounts of gold, and Shelly's even got a little bit of HP to run away with.
Super fast Raptor clear. Shift. Gonna die once again.
Who tries to dash to the Raptors, is going to be successful, but will still die. More kills going into Venom Crest back pocket, hitting double digits for the game. And what I'm liking here is game one of the split. it was all about this top side. It was Lenny, Zubak, and Painful making things happen. If I'm looking in the kill column, Deadhound's the guy with the biggest number there.
Yeah, he is, and this is what I'm actually very excited for Venom Crest, because coming in, right, you'd said it earlier on, didn't know what to expect from this Venom Crest roster. I'd seen a little bit of Painful in Division 2 when he was on Lightside, got promoted into Division 1, and I was kind of excited for Painful, was still very excited to see what the rest of the team could do, but didn't have too much tape, too much quantities to be able to go off. After just 2 games Middle Cop, I'm ready to give these guys a decent shot at NLC.
Yeah, no, they're looking like they can do it. I think we do need to temper expectations a bit. They have come through playing against maybe teams that we are saying are a little bit weaker, but I don't think that you could start a split really better than this.
Winning both of your games tends to be the best way that you can start a split.
It's the manner, Rude. It's the way that they're doing it.
No, I agree, and I'm absolutely there with you. They are doing a very good job, and they're looking fairly concise when they're doing so. Sorry, I know that we've moved on from this, and this is very much taking us back, but I do want that mid lane Herald charge to be a lesson in why you should always try and charge the Rift Herald, because there's a difference. If you let the Rift Herald charge itself, you don't get the boatload of grubs spawn, you just get the standard 2 that you get per champion in the instance here that you've got the 6 void grubs. But if you've got 6 grubs and you've got a Rift Herald, you should always be charging it at every turn.
I know an Australian bloke that would really agree with you on that point. And the thing about taking these structures so early is it just opens up all of DMG's jungle for Venom Crest, right? Is basically no way that Shift can try and recover himself into this game now, because every time he shows up to take one of his camps, it's already gone.
Taking a couple of resets. Second Drake did go over to Venom Crest in that interlude. We're not really close to a soul, looking about 9 minutes away before Venom Crest would be able to get one of those. And this is that weird stage of the mid game where you kind of have not a lot to do, and when you're so far ahead it can get a bit tricky to make plays happen for Venom Crest. Their objectives for the next couple of minutes are going to be that top and bot tier 2, since they've already taken the mid lane tier 2 as well, and that's where a lot of the gold actually sits for Venom Crest left to claim before they start making game-ending plays like breaking open the base.
Oh, this is good from DMG though, waiting in a bush and catching out Zubak. Yes, we've kind of seen it before, but especially when Baron is going to start being a concern as well, finding these picks onto the enemy jungler can find you windows to bring back the game.
Yeah, exactly as we said earlier on, right? The way that DMG are going to look to play this game out is using Nautilus, using Varus. You've got a lot of lockdown, a lot of CC there, and especially when there are no Mercury treads on Zubak, it's a very easy target to try and claim.
I'm looking across the itemization though for Venom Cresters. Hold on, they're looking for another fight. Liam Cole having to burn the flash. Better that than dead though.
It is better that than dead. Small issue of failing to count our minions / pressing tab. We have 2 options in 2024. The Nico just walked in and Liam Cole unfortunately has to burn his flash there. Still working towards that mirror mana. We're 60 stacks away, which is going to take just a little bit of time. Probably up, or definitely up I would hope for the next dragon if we see DMG look to contest for it. And they've got, like we've already mentioned, kills in the rightish position. We're waiting for Liam Cole to complete that tier item and then we should be good to fight.
Yeah. All-seeing Baron going to be hitting the rift, and Venom Crest might be hitting onto it in a moment's time. If they can find a pick in this top side, then I imagine they're going to be heading straight over there, and kind of across the board, they are ahead on items. So you would expect if they were to take a fight, kind of in any sort of scenario here, they'd come out on top.
Yeah, and the reason that I'm sort of harping on to this Varus at the minute is because if we look at the gold difference, you can see on our lovely new overlay that outside of the Varus, there is no shining light, unfortunately. Everywhere is a gold lead for Venom Crest in DMG, even though it's only 300 for the AD carry. It's the only place that we've got anything to sing about.
I mean, look at top lane. Lenny is almost 3,000 gold up on LVS, and K'Sante is possibly the biggest ball of stats that Riot have released in recent years.
Somebody should make a copy pasta about how many stats he's got.
Someone should.
I'm thinking a Korean mid laner would be perfect for it.
You would need to be quite a high-level player to understand how disgusting this Pot Blossom is from Painful. Flashes in, catches 2, punishing the lack of that summoner spell on Liam Cole. It's 2 kills, easy as you like. Straight over to the Baron?
I think so. Lovely execute from Painful in the mid lane, single-handedly starting and ending that fight within the space of about 5 seconds. And this is what I want from Venom Crest, their ability to close out a game, clearly improving game by game. Starting out with a need to get Shift away from this pit. Lenny's still got all out. A Xin Zhao getting in here is going to be nigh on impossible.
He just can't do it at all. You see LVS splitting down the bottom side. He is going to be teleported
TP'd.
on by Lenny,
Hold on.
actually just trying to deny that push as much as he can. This is going to give a window
That's
for
early
Shift
ulti.
to potentially move into the pit, but he has popped that ulti very, very early. Agony Pain having to flash away. Deadhound going over the wall to take down the Xin Zhao. Baron staying aggro. Venom Crest, they want to guarantee the objective.
Really nicely played. Once again, Venom Crest, they know exactly what they need to do to make sure they can secure the objective. They have stalled quite a while, and now DMG's bot lane is here. LVS, he's got TP. He wants to get in time. That Baron's already gone. No jungler, no Gumayushi. That Baron is all but taken.
Yeah, and... Oh, like in the World Finals.
Like in the World Finals,
Like in the World
yeah.
Finals, that was good.
Yeah.
Pioshik's got a title, man. Pioshik's got a big title, man.
I mean, after another split here, we could be seeing Zubac on that level.
I believe it. I believe it, man. But it does feel like he's taken a little bit of a backseat as we've translated into the mid game, and the more traditional carries of the mid of the AD carry have really come to the fore for Venom Crest.
Yeah, they really have. I'm looking to see now if we've got Deadhound, if we've got Painful, just absolutely slaughter another team fight. We've not really had a broad 5v5 yet, and honestly, I think that's kind of favouring DMG. They've got this Fiora who's geared towards split pushing. Unfortunately, she's a full item and a half down, and Shift is probably dead again.
Oh no, he just wants to clear his jungle, but he isn't going to be given the opportunity. A 7th kill for Deadhound as Venom Crest continue to make this gold lead even more disgusting.
I actually love this as well. Venom Crest, they say, we don't need this dragon. We've got Baron. We don't want to waste this time. Hold on. Goodbye.
Oh my word, every single time. Painful getting the lockdown, getting the kills, and Lenny looks for a solo in the bottom lane, all out onto Agony Pain. And looks like the Orianna is going to be falling again. This has been exceptional stuff from Venom Crest. 2-3 dead on the other side as they're pushing with the Baron.
And this could very well be game. You've got 6 Void Grubs, you've got Baron, you've got 5 members strong. Venom Crest looking to secure themselves a 2-0 start.
Well, LVS getting that spell immune coming through. He's going to get knocked back eventually. Look at the Iron Slurry providing a little bit of shielding. His Shift looks to split the fight, but there's 5 members of Venom Crest beating down on him. And Venom Crest will start off their run in the NLC Division 1 with a 2-0 week.
And with very similar scores as well. Very consistent performances from Venom Crest, able to twice in a row get themselves, plus 10 kills and only giving over 4 total in that game. Yesterday, very similarly low number. Just clean, very almost standard League of Legends. It wasn't boring in any capacity, but it was just good to watch.
It was standard but aggressive.
Yeah.
Right? The plays that they were going for, they're simple plays, but I think the thing that separates a good team from a great team is the ability to link those plays together to make good play after good play after good play, and the gold lead kept ballooning, and Venom Crest kept winning the fights. We are going to be going to a very short break now. Stick around for the desk to break down that game.
At SteelSeries, we make the headsets, mice and keyboards that the world's best gamers win the most with. And we've been doing it since way back. It's up to you how far you go, but whatever you do, go for glory.